All right, we're going to try this again. This is Paul Frazier from Western Ohio Bigfoot Research. This video, I've been wanting to make this video for a long time, but had some technical difficulties, but we'll see if we can get it to work. Uh, I wanted to talk about the place I usually go and talk about some of the things I found there. I've got my little puppy wanting to play here, so I got to deal with that while I'm making this video. Um, This place I usually go, I'm going to try to show a map here. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. I'm assuming, let's see. I'm assuming you're seeing the screen with the map. I hope. This is I go this road and I come in and let me zoom in here. There's a parking lot, small parking lot right here. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, that's a parking lot right there. It's very small. Only about 8 cars maybe. So I pull in and park there, and I can there's two different places where I go to this area. This is a road that goes across the dam, and they have it gated off right here at the parking lot. You can only go to the parking lot at dead ends. And you can either go that way or you can come in this road, and there's a parking lot here. And this is the dam, of course. It's about 200 acres, this area. So if you watch any of my videos, I talk about going on the ridge side or on the bottom side. So when I say that, what I'm saying is if I go on the ridge side, I go down this road and park in this little parking lot. And it's this area right here. This is all woods. And this is what I would call the ridge side. And the trail, this is the creek right here. Uh, the trail runs right along the ridge overlooking the creek. Goes all along here. It also goes back through here through the woods, but it goes along that all along the ridge there. So that's the ridge side. The bottom side is when I come over on this road and I pull in this parking lot. This is the same road right here. It goes all the way over to where the other parking lot is. And a lot of people park at either parking lot and just walk their dog or walk. They like to walk this road for whatever reason. There's nothing to see other than it's just a road. You can look over at the woods, but I like to go in the woods. So anyway, if I park in this parking lot on the bottom side, there's a trail. It's paved. It goes down. I guess you'd call it a road, really. It goes down along here at the bottom of the dam, and then it goes back into these woods and makes a big loop. And it's all paved. It's really nice. We take the dogs there and just walk around the loop and come back. It's a good place to take them. Hardly ever anybody there, and that's one of the things I like about it. So anyway, I hope that helps you visualize better when I say the ridge side or the bottom side. That's what I'm talking about. You're either on this side of the creek, it's all kind of flat over in here, and it's not as thick. The woods aren't as thick. When you walk through this area, you can kind of see. Well, I guess it's not that thick over here either, really. But anyway, this is the bottom side, and there's actually the Buckeye Trail. There's a portion of the Buckeye Trail that runs somewhere along here. I don't know exactly where it's at. I've never walked it because it's a right I forget what they call the term, but it's through somebody's property. The Buckeye Trail goes right through their property, so it's not like you could really go do any exploring or anything, and it's probably not much woods. It probably runs along one of these fields or something. So I've never bothered walking that part of the Buckeye Trail, but I've explored all of this area quite a bit. In fact, want to show you that right now. The way StreamYard is, they want you to do a PowerPoint presentation to show pictures. And I'm pretty familiar with PowerPoint. I've used it a lot, done a lot of presentations. So I'm familiar with it, but uh, I have a generic version of Microsoft Office. It's called Open Office, made by Apache, and it's free. And I've never had any problem with it, but when I was trying to do this, it kept bringing my pictures up, putting them in sideways every time I would add a picture. Not all of them. This picture didn't come out that way, but a lot of pictures when I'd add them, it for some reason it was turning them sideways, and I couldn't get them up and down the way I had intended. So get kind of aggravated. So I'm going to try to bypass the PowerPoint. I'm just going to show a couple pictures on there, and then I'm going to try to show you directly from my computer. We'll see how this all works out. But this is I have an app. It's called Gaia GPS, and it works off of satellite. And that's one of the things I like about it, because if I'm going to go somewhere and there's not going to be a signal, which is usually the case when you're in the forest, especially some deep remote areas of like Wayne National Forest or any national forest, usually you're not going to have a signal. So what's nice is you can go on the app and pull up a map like this right here. This is directly from the app, and you can do a satellite view. You can do topographical. You can do road map, show like street maps. You can do fire roads. There's all kinds of layers you can put on the app. So you go pull up a map of the area you're going to go to on the app, and then you can create your own map. You can expand it out how big you want it, where all you want to cover. You make your own map on the app, and then when you get there, because this works off satellite, even if you don't have a signal, you can use that map that you made ahead of time, and it will track you on that map using the satellite. So even with no signal, it still tracks you. That's one of the things I like. And of course, you can add these little icons. I put where the car is, that little car icon. There's a real big sycamore tree back in here. You may have seen pictures of it. That's what that icon is. There's a over in this area. There's a I don't know what it is exactly. It's like a big square pit, and it just looks like it'd be a great place to have a campfire. I thought about camping there sometime, and that's why I put that little icon for the. That's where that little campfire area is. So anyway, that's kind of nice that you can add the little markers of things that you find along the way. Like, and the nice thing is, if you have the same app, I could send you this map with the marker with the icon on it. Like if I found a footprint, I could put a pin on the map to show where I found the footprint, and then I could send it to you, and you could follow it right to where it's at. You'd be able to find the footprint if you had the same map. So that's a nice feature. So anyway, you can see I've explored this area a lot. This big lake right here is private property. They've sold it off for some reason, which I'm bummed about that, but that all used to be part of it, and they've sold that off. So this blue trail, this blue path on here that goes along the lake, that's one of the hikes I did. I may have been over on their property, I don't know, but anyway, that was an interesting hike, because somewhere along this lake here, on the bottom side of the lake, I came across these big things of concrete, big slabs, and I think that it was part of the original Miami Erie Canal. I know the Miami Erie Canal goes through this area, And I think that that may have been part of it, what I found there. But anyway, let me show you a little closer up. You can see every time you go, if you use this app, it tracks you with a different color. And as you can see, I've gone there a lot. And this isn't even every time. I hardly ever use the app anymore because I know the area so well. But you can see I've been there a lot. I've explored all of this area a lot. And so now I just want to show some of the things I found. And I don't want to use the word woo, but there's been some pretty strange things that have happened too that I'll want to mention. That's why I want to make this video, is to document this whole thing, to document everything that I found, and talk about things that have happened, and that way I have a record of it. And uh let me see here. When I very first started going, we moved here 3 years ago, and I've been going for the past 3 years. I very first started squatching in 2022, I guess, is when I first started going out. So I haven't been doing it that long. And shortly before we moved here, I started going out. So then when I got here, I didn't know what I was doing. I just go out and look around, see what I can find. I came across this structure, and it really, of course, it caught my eye. I mean, you can't help but notice it when you walk by. And it's right along the trail. This is on the ridge side, and where I'm standing taking this picture, if I turned around, right where I'm standing, when I turn around, it slopes downhill to the creek. Real big, pretty good slope going down to the creek. So I'm right on the ridge, top of the ridge, the trail that runs right along there. This is right along the trail. But the more I started looking at it, what's really interesting about it is this horizontal branch. It has a smooth bark to it, and there's no tree anywhere around there that has that same bark. It it was carried there. It didn't fall and land there. There's no trees around that has that bark. So it got put there. That's what makes it really interesting to me. And then on the right side of the big tree, there's this small tree, and it has two, I call them leaners. Got a leaner on both sides, and those have the same bark as this horizontal. So all three of these branches have the same bark that doesn't match any tree around. And this horizontal one, let me show you, it's pretty big. You can see there. That's not even the biggest portion of it right there, but you see out on the end, it's quite a bit bigger. Let me get back. Anyway, I looked up a log weight calculator. I think that might be birch, this branch. I don't know for sure, but it's closest thing I could find that it looked like it might be birch. So went with birch, and I estimated it to be about 14 feet long. I think that's pretty close. And then it wanted the average diameter. Went with 6 inches because it's bigger than six out on the end, and then it's smaller on the other end. So on average, I think six is probably pretty close. And it estimated it to be 145 pounds. So I know maybe kids do stuff like that. I don't know, but I just can't see kids carrying a 145-pound branch from wherever. I don't even know where it came from, carrying it over here and sticking it. Why would they even do that? Stick it in there. I mean, that's a lot of weight to carry and then put it like that. I don't know. I just think it's interesting. I can't say for sure that it was not done by a person, but just seems unlikely to me. So anyway, I found that really got my attention. That was early on. It was like when I very first went, I found that. So I've always kept an eye on it. Thought that was interesting. And I'll show you something else I found. This caught my eye too. This is what I was talking about, how it kept putting these clippers. She sees a squirrel out there. Uh, Great. Well, she got Wally going. Anyway, it keeps putting these pictures in sideways, which I'm getting aggravated about. That's why I quit doing the PowerPoint. It's going to try to show stuff directly off my computer, but uh, this branch right here is horizontal. I mean, it's vertical in this picture, but if it's supposed to be horizontal, it's perfectly level. And so that was odd to me. So I got to looking at it. And on the left side of this branch, it's sawed off. It's not broke, it's sawed off. So it didn't just fall from above, because there's no way nobody went up above it and sawed that off. Because I don't know if you can tell in this picture, but this is on that real steep slope I was talking about going down to the creek. This is right by that tree structure, just a little ways down from it. And it's a real steep slope, so it's above your head. There's no way a person was able to put it up there. It's too high for a person to put it there. And it didn't fall there because it's sawed off. You can't use a ladder on this slope. So how it got there, I don't know. I think it's interesting. So that's another thing. I call this the bunny bush. When I first started going, I noticed this bush over there. It looks just like a little bunny rabbit. And the red circle, that was just a joke between me and Ernie Davia. We joke about the red circle, so I did that as a joke for him. But uh, I just think it's odd that this bush looks so much like a bunny rabbit. Just I don't know. Maybe it could happen naturally. I don't know. But anyway, I thought it was interesting. It doesn't look that way now. It just did for a short time. So I don't know. Then when I first started going, I was I didn't know what I was doing. I just started doing this, and I was trying to think of a way to determine if there's anything going on over there. I don't. I found that tree structure, and I thought, could have been a person. I don't know. So I tried to figure out a way to determine if anything's going on. So what I did is I took some black thread and I tied it between trees in different places about 8 foot high. So I could walk under it with no problem. Anybody would walk through there and never know it was there because you can't see it. So I did that in several places, and I would take a little stick and I'd reach up and see if that thread was still there, and I could feel it with the stick. So every time I'd go, I'd check it, and it was there for months. And then one day I went hiking through there, and I reached up and went to feel it, and it was gone. And one of the places I put it was by that tree structure. That was one of the places. I put it in several different places. Well, when I went back and noticed that first one was gone, I checked and they were gone in all the spots. All of them were missing. So whatever broke them all at the same time. So I don't think it was just from, I thought about, well, a branch could fall and break it, but the chances of a branch falling and breaking all of them on the same day is not very likely. So anyway, I thought, okay, well, something broke them. And it was like 2 months later, I'm walking the trail and I felt something hit my leg. And I stopped and looked down, and this stick was up against my leg. Well, I got to looking, it had this black thread on it. So this thread was across the path, and it was about even with my thighs. And my dog went right under it, didn't even know it was there. It was above his head. and I'm walking along and I feel that stick hit me in the leg and I realize what's going on, that this thread was across the path about as high as my thighs, and it's not tied, it's just like wrapped around there. So I thought that was interesting that the black thread showed back up and it was like it was put across that path for somebody to walk into, whether it was for me or not, I don't know, but I was going there pretty regular. I was going there a couple times a week at least, sometimes more. So I don't know. That was interesting. And I want to show something else. This is pretty wild. Let me see how we can do this here. Uh, let's see. All right. May take me a second here to get this going. This is really interesting. All right, here we go. Okay, now let me show this video. Hopefully you're seeing this video playing. There's no sound to it, but what I'm doing here, what the reason I made this video, you see that thing in the path, that big giant ice ball. Let me show it again right there. I'm looking above because I thought, well, maybe it was a squirrel nest that fell out of a tree. I don't know. I just know this is on the ridge side. When you walk back from the parking lot, you walk back along the ridge. Let me get out of this real quick. When you walk along the ridge, there is it takes about it's about a half mile total, I think, if you go all the way back along the ridge to the far end of it and then turn around and come back out to the car. It takes 15, 20 minutes probably, maybe something like that. It's not very far if that's all you do. And that's what I would do a lot of times. I'd take my dog and we would just walk back there along the ridge, past that tree structure, and then we'd turn around and come back out and leave. And that's what we did that particular day. It was pretty cold out. You see the snow on the ground. And we walked back there, turned around, we were coming back out, and that big giant ice ball was in the path. It wasn't there when we went in, but when we come out, there it was. And there's no cars there. I was the only one there. And that's why I was filming up above to show that there's no tree it could have fell out of. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for how it magically appeared there in the path. I thought that was interesting. And it's big. I mean, I'd say at least 2 foot in diameter and more than a foot tall. This ice ball. Let me show it one more time because it's pretty big. So, and I imagine it's got some weight to it. I didn't try to pick it up, but it's got to be fairly heavy. Let me show it one more time here. Oh, I got out of it. Anyway, you saw how big. I hope you saw how big it was. I don't know if I could even picked it up, to tell you the truth. It looked that heavy. So that was pretty odd that it just appeared there right in the trail in that short amount of time that I walked back there and come back out. And let me see if I can show this. All right, maybe it'd be easiest just to do it this way if I can. Just to scroll through these and try to find wanting to show you. Hate to do it this way, but this is not cooperating very well. All right, let me just go through some of these pictures and then I'll talk about them. Trying to find one in particular. These are not in order. There, okay, that's the one I was looking for. That is that ice ball. The video I showed you was in the end of January. This is in February. This is like mm, over a week later. The snow's all gone. But you can see it's still there and it's pretty big. That was like over a week later. So, I mean, it's a big giant chunk of ice frozen. Still there even a week later. So, even though all the snow had melted, it still hadn't melted yet. So, it, it's pretty strange. I don't know. I don't have an explanation for that. Let me I want to show this too. Go back to this. I want to talk about this. That's a dead cat. That is on the ridge side in that little parking lot I was talking about. I I backed into this parking stone, or whatever, this parking block. I backed into it, and it's just a habit of mine from construction work. We always back in to the spots. So I backed in there. We went on our little hike. Same thing as we walked back to the end of the ridge and turn around, come back out. I had Wally with me at this time, and we come back out, and Wally goes around on the passenger side of the car, and I'm going around on the driver's side. So I call for him, "Come on, Wally," and he comes around on the passenger or on the driver's side. I open the back door, and he gets in. I get in, start the car up, start to drive, and the car, I feel it kind of bump. Like, what was that? I ran over something. I didn't know what I could have run over because I backed into that spot. So as I'm pulling up a little ways, I look in my mirror and there's a black cat laying there that I'd run over. Now, I'm the only car in the parking lot. This is on the dead end road. There's only like 3 houses right around there. And it couldn't have been there when I backed in. I would have backed over it when I backed in. It couldn't have been alive because Wally went around on that side before he got in. If that was a live cat, he would have chased it. It would have took off. It wouldn't have just sat there while he went around on that side and then come back around on my side. So it had to have been dead already. So it had to have been placed there between my tires. I don't know. This picture here, I went back because I went ahead and left. I saw it in my mirror and I thought, well, that's weird. It's a dead cat that I ran over. So then I left, and then like a day or two later, a couple days later, I thought I should go back and get a picture of that. So I went back, and this is not where it was when it happened. It was farther up. It was up in the parking lot a little bit, in between where my two wheels would have been. And somehow it got moved back a little farther, but I took this picture just to show it. So I don't have an explanation for that either. That's what I was saying about the woo. I have no idea how a dead cat ended up between my tires in that short time it took us to do that little walk to the end of the ridge and back again. Probably less than an hour total. No other cars there. I was the only one there. I don't know. I don't know. Don't have an explanation for that. So, let me see. I'll go back to some of these other pictures. Wait a minute. Let's see if we can show some of these other pictures. Uh, okay. Let me go. I'll just go through some of these and then I can try to explain what they are, what's going on. This one here, this is on the bottom side of the where I was talking about where the Buckeye Trail is. This is close to where that Buckeye Trail is. I went walking back there one day and I saw this tent and a hammock, and the hammock looked pretty new. Well, they both did. The tent and the hammock both looked pretty new, pretty nice. And the hammock was hanging up between two trees, and the tent was right there. And this is not a camping area. You're not supposed to camp back in there, but somebody was. And it looked to me like it was being used. It looked like it had just been put up. The hammock looked pretty new. The tent looked new. It looked like somebody was there, so I didn't bother going back there. I just kind of noticed it and I went on, turned around, went back the other way. So I would go back every time I would go, I'd walk back in that area and look and see if it was still there. And yeah, it's still there. Well, it ended up being there for like months and got all dilapidated. The hammock kind of fell out of the tree, and I realized, okay, nobody's there. So I went and looked in the tent, and there was a backpack in the tent and a gym bag. The backpack was like a little kid's backpack, like a Spider-Man, and there was a gym bag there. I didn't go rummaging through all of it. I just peeked in the tent. I want to make sure there wasn't a dead body in there or anything. So anyway, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that somebody would set up a really nice tent and hammock and all that and then just abandon it. So I don't know if they got run out of there by something. I don't know. It was just odd that it's still there now. I could go back there and show you now. It's still there. It's been over a year now, I think. But okay, let me go back here. That tree structure I showed you that I found when I first started going here, that's it right there. For uh 2 years, that's all it looked like, is what I showed you. Let me go right look like that for 2 years. Never changed. I even let me find something here real quick. I take lots of pictures of it because I try to see where if it's changed or not. That's the best way for me to know if it's changed is by comparing my pictures. Uh, I'm just going through this quick because I'm trying to find a picture in particular. No, not that one. Okay, this one. If you look in the middle there, you see there's a little Batman. I found him. I probably got a picture of him somewhere. I know I do. There he is. Okay, I put him on that tree structure. I found him over on the other side, on the bottom side. Actually, I found him way before that tent was ever put there, but it was in that area where that tent was. That's where I found him. But that tent wasn't there then. So I found it. It's like a little Stretch Armstrong type thing. It's stretchy, rubbery thing, Batman. And at first, I set him up over there on that side. I put him in a tree over there, not in a very obvious spot, but I put him there and left him there for a couple months, and nothing ever happened to him. He stayed there. So then I thought, well, I'll bring him over here and put him on this structure. So I brought him over here, and the day I decided to do that, I went down that real steep slope, which I'd never done before. I decided we go down and look along the creek for footprints. So I went down there and looked around, and I climbed up that slope, and it's real steep. It's hard to get up it. And on my way up, right there by that tree structure, I found all three of these feathers right there on that slope. So I stuck the feathers there along with the Batman. and nothing messed with them. And it was like that for a long time. So it's just an experiment I tried. But like I said, I don't. It's right along the trail. Even if anything happened to it, you have to think, well, maybe a person messed with it. So kind of frustrating that with you got public property that you're dealing with. I wish I had private land where I could do some of these experiments and do some exploring, but that's what I got to work with right now. So anyway, nothing ever happened to it. This here is I thought it was a tree. I walked by it for I don't know how long, and one time I went over and looked, and it's not. It's a branch that's just standing straight up. Maybe it fell like that. I don't know, but it's not a tree. It's just a branch that it looks like a tree, but it's not. And I've noticed that a lot. I found tons of them like that where they're stuck in this one wasn't stuck in the ground. It was just standing up and the two vertical branches coming off were like leaned on something to help it stand up. But I found several that I thought was a tree and I walk over and it pulls right out of the ground. It's just stuck in the ground. This one, it's a pretty stout little tree there. Let's see. Yeah, right there you can see. I mean, that's pretty stout. I could probably have a hard time bending that over. I'm sure I would have a hard time bending the tree. And it was like bent over and behind this other tree, behind a branch. So I thought that was kind of odd. This one, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. It looks like it might have got snapped off and then started growing again. I don't know. I just thought it was odd. There's Batman. Oh yeah, I forgot. That is the only thing that was different on that was that stick. I found that stick laying there. And I don't know if a person put it there or what, but I forgot about that. There was a stick there, so I don't know. This is right next to that tree structure, right to the left of it. This was there. Looked like a letter A. I don't know. It's just weird because like this branch here, I'm hoping you can see my mouse cursor. I don't know if you can, but the horizontal part of the A is like a weird shaped branch that's like hanging. It's supported the way it's hung there. It's just I don't know. It's interesting. So that was right next to it. There's that other one I was talking about that's sawed off. I have no explanation at all how that got there. You can't reach it. It's above your head. It's sawed off. Didn't fall there. I don't know. I don't know how it got there. That's that little A-shaped tree structure I was just talking about right by the other one. That's another picture of it. There's old Batman hanging out. This is like a double arch. It may be hard to tell in this picture, but you got one tree arched one way and another tree arched the opposite way, and they're like kind of interlocked. I thought that was interesting. There's the bunny bush. Let me see what this is. I guess I'm showing that. Oh, I'm trying to figure out where that branch came from that's there. That's what I was doing, I think. Looking up above, trying to see where it may have fell from. I'm not sure what I'm looking at there. There's a branch right here. I was wondering how it got there. Uh, I forgot about this too. That was the only other change is those two sticks, they were leaning on that tree on the right. One time when I come back, they were off by themselves over here. I don't know how they got if a person probably moved them. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But I put them back where they were leaning on that tree, put them back like that. So I don't know how they got moved. So anyway, the one after 2 years of going by there, that tree structure always looked the same. I go by, and then it looks like this one day. All these branches. So I don't know. Just all of a sudden it looked like that. There's the horizontal. You can see it. And the two leaners are there. But now it's got all this other. I mean, it was quite a bit at one point. All these branches. Not sure why I put that there. And now I took my grandsons back there to see it. And now, oh yeah, there's a talk about that in a second. Took my grandsons back to see it. There's a lot of sticks. Now it could have been some kids that did that. I don't know. I know kids like to make forts and stuff. So I don't know. It's right along the trail. Who knows? Just interesting. But like I said, there's only like three houses right there. It's a long dead end road, and there's only like three houses close by. I don't know if they have kids or not, but I don't know. This is a giant sycamore. There's two of them I found there. I measured this one actually with my tape measure. It's 21 feet around it, and I'm trying to remember now on these two branches. I think one was like 17 feet around, and the other was 15 feet around. If I remember right. I think that's right. That's Wally. This I thought was odd. This is obviously from a tree that a big branch that's broke, but how would it break off on either side like that? I mean, if a tree falls with enough force for it to break it, how did it not break these small branches that are holding it up? I mean, if it had enough force to break a giant branch like that or a tree, I don't know, maybe it's a whole tree, how would it not break these small branches if it had enough force to break the actual tree itself on both sides? I don't know. It just seemed odd to me. I don't know how that could happen. All right, let's see what else. There's another tree structure like this one that I found. It's a little farther back from here. Let's see if I can find pictures of it. There's a um, okay. Yeah, this is something interesting too. Got my little arrows there. This this is just one of those things that people would walk by and not even pay attention to, not even notice it. Yeah. But I got to looking at it, and you could see if you look to the left of this tree, there's the stump that it came off of. It broke off of that stump and fell off, which it seems odd to me that it would fall off of that. It would break off of that stump, but yet remain standing straight up. That's what seemed odd to me. So I got to looking at this picture. At well, not looking at the picture, looking at it. Got to looking at it, and so that's what these arrows are. The red arrow is showing where it came off of that stump, broke off of the stump, but it's still standing up. This yellow arrow is showing that what's holding this thing up is this other branch. Well, this other branch, the yellow arrow is showing that it had to have fallen down because the top of this branch is the big end. The bottom of the branch is the small end toward the ground. So it had to have fallen straight down. Well, how would it fall and catch? Did they fall at the exact same moment that this one broke off of this stump at the exact same moment that this other branch fell and they caught each other like that standing up? Now, that just seems impossible to me, but that's the way it's positioned right now, that you can see this other branch is bigger on the top than it is on the bottom. It's upside down. In other words, it must have, if it fell head first toward the ground, it had to have fallen at the exact same moment this other one broke off of that stump and caught it like that. Just doesn't seem likely to me. Here's another, this is a video of it, so maybe you can see it better there, but see how that other branch is bigger and small toward the ground? That's what's holding it up. Just seems very strange. I think this is just showing the area. This is the standing on top of the ridge, looking down at the creek. Like I said, it's pretty steep going down to the creek. And up the trail from where we're looking right now, if we go up that trail just a little ways, you'll see that tree structure. You just can't quite see it from here. This gives you a view of what it looks like there. That board there come from this bench. There's a bench here, and then there's another bench. Like if you follow along the ridge all the way down to the end of the ridge, there's another bench. And that's going back toward the parking lot. All right, let me see what else we got here. I'm not sure. I think it's because these two branches were broke. The one right next to the tree, the little skinny branch right next to it, it's broke, but it's like it doesn't look broke. It's like perfect 90-degree bend on it. I thought that was kind of odd, but there's the old tree structure with Batman. There's another. This is an example. That is just sitting there. That's a branch. That's not a tree. Straight up and down. I find them like that a lot there. There's another picture of the tree structure. Got lots of pictures of it. Like I said, every time I go, I take pictures. I want to see if it's changed. And that's that A shape next to it. There's another one stuck in the ground. It's right on the trail, right by a bench. So I don't know. A person may have done it, but I find them a lot. I don't just find them along the trail. I find them in the woods. I've found several times where I think, oh, that's a tree, and then I walk over to it and it pulls right out of the ground. That's my dog Tank that I used to have. I really miss him. Broken tree there. There's a arch that's pinned down by another tree that's not wasn't even anywhere close to it. So I thought that was a little strange. Another of the tree structure. I'm not sure what I'm showing there. I don't know. Oh, that must have been that. Yeah, that's that same one I was showing earlier. That one that it looks like the one branch fell and caught it, and somehow right at the moment it came off of that tree stump. This is what the that structure looks like now. All those sticks that were all up, leaned up on there, they're all laying on the ground now. They're all scattered out. So don't look like it did. That's it there. That's Wally back behind it, but that's before they got scattered out. Here's a odd turd that I found. I don't know. I don't know what that came from. It's not huge, but it's fairly big. I mean, it's person sized. So I don't know. I don't know. I thought that was strange. I don't know. Doesn't look like it came from a deer. So that's what I was talking about. They're all scattered, laying on the ground now. They're even scattered out more than that. That's it there. But there's another one. Let's see if I can find the other one that I found recently. There's a tent. That's still the same structure as before. It got all scattered out when I took the grandsons. Let's see. Let me go back. Um, all right, let's see if I can show this. All right, I guess I gotta open it first. Let me open it real quick. Open up this folder. All right. Yeah. Let's see if I can share this folder. It's still not there. All right. Well, let me see. All right, let's try that. Let me find it here. I don't know. Well, let me show the footprints. I always say I never found prints, but I did find these one time. I went down along the lake there, and I did find this print. I'm not sure. Uh, uh, Come on. Why is it not showing it? Let's see. All right. Is it showing that? I hope that's the print. It looks like toes. Looks like a bare foot. And if I remember right, this was cold. Trying to remember what time oh, it was in April was when this was. It was in April. And there's that print at the bottom, and then it looks like the next step. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was this over here or up here. I don't know. So I never could that there was only a couple of prints there, and it's a pretty sloppy looking mud. It didn't look like I could cast it because of all the water laying in it. So I never did try to cast it, but that was the one time I found prints. And it does look like a foot, a bare foot, and it was in April. I can't see somebody taking off their shoes. I don't know why they would anyway to go out there in that mud. I don't know. And in April, be pretty cold. So I don't know. That was another odd thing. Let's see. Was there anything else? Well, there was one time, it was in the summer, I was on the bottom side, walking the trail there, back to where that big tree was. And I walked back to the tree, took some pictures of it, and was heading back. Only a couple minutes, probably. And along the trail where I had just walked was a bunch of these little twigs with leaves on them. There's like a whole trail of them along the trail. There's a bunch of them just laying. It wasn't windy or anything like that. And a twig usually with leaves on it doesn't usually just break off that easy anyway. But they were all there's a whole bunch of them all along the trail. And I don't know. I saw it, and to me, all I can think is, did something leave it there just to see if I would notice? I mean, I don't have an explanation for it why it was there. I don't know. That was really strange. Um, let's see if I can find. Trying to find this picture of these things I found. Uh, it was like a slingshot. It was a stick, a stick with a Y shape to it. There's two of them, and they were just stuck in the ground back in the woods there in this one area. I don't know. That was pretty odd too. See if I can find that picture. Not sure where it's at. I wish I could have put together a PowerPoint. That would have made it so much easier if I could have just scrolled through. It kept turning them sideways on me. I couldn't. I can't find it. Anyway, I guess that'll give you an idea of the area that I go to, things I've found, strange things. I've heard wood knocks there a few times. Usually it's been just a single wood knock. One time I heard five real fast wood knocks. And then actually it was just yesterday I heard like five wood knocks, but they sounded like if you was using a log to hit the tree with, not a stick. It sounded like somebody was just using a log. I heard that yesterday when I was there. I was on the ridge side, and I went to put out my recorder, that new recorder I got from Wildlife Acoustics. Uh, it's one that it says it'll record up to 280 hours. So I'm gonna leave it out there for a couple of weeks and then go back and see what I got. So anyway, I hope that gives you an idea what all I've found where I'm at, where I go. I haven't found anything that I could definitely say, yeah, there's some Sasquatch here, but there's things I found that I have no explanation for. And it's got me thinking that because that creek runs right along my property and it's all wooded back behind my property. Um, I got 2 acres and 1 acre's all woods going down to the creek. There's actually two creeks there on my property. And the one creek dries up a lot of times. It doesn't always have water running. But anyway, I got thinking that that's the same uh, creek that runs down through where I just showed you, the area that I go all the time. So it's very possible they travel through right through where by my house. I don't know. So maybe I need to start keeping a recorder outside, out behind me in the woods too, because I think they might pass through on occasion. It's probably about 100 acres of woods right behind me that my property is part of about 100 acres total of woods. And there's a sportsman club right by me that's all woods there too. So I don't know. It's I haven't ever the only thing that's happened at our property, it's been two times now that it's happened. And it hasn't happened this was a long time ago that this happened, over a year ago. One time is about 10 o'clock at night. It sounded like something hit the side of the house. I wasn't home when that one happened. Kim was, but she said it sounded like something hit the side of the house. And the other time, it was about 2 in the morning. This was a little over a year ago, I think. We were asleep about 2 in the morning, and something hit the house so hard that it woke us up. And actually, I I got up because I didn't know what it was, but it hit the heart, it hit the house pretty hard, whatever it was. So I got up and went out and looked out the window. And when I looked out, it was raining. Not really storming, but it was raining and it was a little bit windy. So I thought, oh, okay, must have a branch must have hit the roof or something. That must have been a branch. So then I went on back to bed. And the next day I went out and looked, and there was no branches anywhere. So I don't know. It's happened twice now that something has hit the side of the house, and both times it hit the same part of the house, same area. That's where it happened both times. And we have motion detector lights. We have one on the garage, and then we have one on the back of the house, and we have one on the side of the house. But both the times this happened was on the front of the house where there is no motion detector lights. And the one on the garage quit working. I don't know why, but they don't work anymore. I don't know why. I tried changing the bulbs and everything, checking the breaker. For whatever reason, they don't work anymore. So, and it's pretty dark on the front of the house now because those lights on the garage quit working, and that's when it happened. I think both times that it's happened was after those lights quit working. So if you go around on the front of the house, it's really dark. And we do have a 4-foot fence around the yard, but I don't know. It's, the fence wasn't there when the first one happened, but the fence was there when this last one happened. So I don't know. Hope that gives you an idea of the area I go to, and we'll just keep checking it out. That's close by, and eventually I want to find a place where I can go where I really know for sure they're there, that I can kind of habituate it. But just showing you what I'm working with at the moment. So I hope you found it interesting. Thanks for watching.